Hey folks, it's Matt once again, and welcome back to another video. And I'm not sure when this will be uploaded, but I was tagged. For those who don't know what that means, a very nice guy named James DVD Collector. He was tagged by someone to answer a few questions, this time pertaining to horror films. Then at the end of the video, he would tag people, and he had tagged a couple people, including people on the Sausage Factory. This is not really a podcast, but sort of a video chat that they were nice enough to invite me to be a part of, the Sausage Factory on their channel, which is on hiatus for the summer. But if you go to their channel on YouTube, I've been a part of it, and they've been nice enough and been a lot of fun, a lot of very nice people on there. And at the end of that video, James DVD Collector on his channel, one of the people he tagged was me. And I believe it was 9 questions, which I'll just say right now. First horror film you ever saw, favorite horror film, favorite subgenre of horror, last horror film that scared you, favorite scream queens past and present, new concept in horror, favorite on-screen kill, favorite horror movie franchise, and favorite horror directors. I believe there was 9. If there was a 10th one, I saw his video, I couldn't find the question, what it was. If there was, I fucked up. But usually people tag at the end of the video. I like to be different. I'll just do it at the beginning. Who do I tag? Probably maybe pick like 5 people. Let's say my friend Mike, OCPcommunications. Let's say John, Zero Cool, who's back to making videos. Maybe he'll do a video on this. Aaron, the Reese 007. He's a nice guy. Michael Keane, MLKKAEFenterprises. If he watches this, feel free. God, who the hell else do I pick? Anyone else that wants to do it. I mean, there's a lot of people. There's Mario, there's Flying Ninja 1, but I'm not sure. I think he's more of an action guy. There's I always remember his YouTube user, Critterbusters. If he wants to do one. I say it because I don't know if he wants me to say his real name, because I see his name on Facebook, but sometimes, don't want to. Just because it's on Facebook doesn't mean they want on YouTube and vice versa. Anyone who wants to do it, really. I would say that anyone that wants to do it, you're tagged. So there you go. Why not? But getting to the questions. Number 1, first horror film you ever saw. That's always tough because I rarely remember the first time I see a movie, let alone what I saw back when I was 6 or 7 or 8 years old. I'll be honest, I can't really remember much back in the day. I don't know, maybe I have Alzheimer's or something. I don't know, but I just, I don't even know if that's the right word, Alzheimer's, if that's another one. I can't remember. Really can't remember. I do have an early memory of Aliens. I don't think that was the first one. I know it's more of an action film, but I do remember the titles of Aliens coming up, that creepy music, and I saw a choir, and the light pushing out to the screen. And I would hide under my blanket to see when I was watching that. Then I would take it off while watching the rest of the movie. I mean, hey, a chest burster going through someone didn't bother me, but yet titles coming up, the way it was done, I don't know. But I can't remember the first. I remember watching Predator on VHS. I remember what the cover looked like. The cover was beaten up. I even remember the trailers on Predator VHS tape. That it was trailers to The Pickup Artist with Robert Downey Jr. and Molly Ringwald. It was a teaser to Revenge of the Nerds 2, done in the vein of, I think, the teaser to Poltergeist 2. So they kind of parodied that in the teaser Revenge of the Nerds 2. I think those were the 2 trailers on that. So I can't remember the very first one, but those are some early memories. But I remember watching a bunch of them when I was very, very young. Maximum Overdrive and The Blob from 1988, and a lot of films, quite a few films. Jacob's Ladder when it first came out on VHS, just tons more. Number 2, favorite horror film. That's always another difficult thing when you pick your favorites. But the one I usually answer with when people ask, when they ask me that, usually I say John Carpenter's The Thing, because to me that's the closest there is to a perfect horror film. Because, and I would like to redo my John Carpenter reviews one day, because they were way back in the day when I had the type of camera where every time you heard the video, it would seem like there was a fish tank, like sort of like that. Or I think this is great video quality, but back then it was really terrible video quality. So I would like to be doing give really in-depth review of John Carpenter's The Thing, because I love that movie. I think it has a great cast, some nice dialogue. I don't want to spend the rest of this winter tied to this fucking couch. Or, yeah, fuck you too. Great Kurt Russell did a wonderful job as Matridi. Great score by Ennio Morricone. Wonderful atmosphere. Excellent effects by Rob Bottin. Love John Carpenter's The Thing. But I have a few favorites. I mean, I always talk about Leviathan, which I know a lot of people hate because it's an amalgamation of other films. Well, they hate it because they don't like it and they think it's boring, which I disagree with. But the whole amalgamation of other movies, I'm like, well, what the hell is Avatar? I don't like Avatar, but what the hell is Avatar? That became the biggest film of all time, and that's an amalgamation. We're gonna put Dances with Wolves and Pocahontas and Ferngully and then some dragon shit we've seen in other movies and Star Wars. Probably not Star Wars, but, you know, other movies. But that became the biggest film of all time, and that's an amalgamation of stuff. Even the damn machines are straight out of Matrix Revolutions. Granted, James Cameron did it before in Aliens, but those things look exactly like the ones in Matrix Revolutions. But that's an amalgamation of stuff, but that became the biggest film. So if you don't hold that film against it, you better hold Avatar, and hell, you could probably name films like Star Wars and Indiana Jones have done that too. So, but it's just, you know, in the eye of the beholder, that's just really what is subjective. But Leviathan is a favorite of mine. The Blob from 1988 is a favorite of mine. Jacob's Ladder is a favorite of mine. I just have a lot of favorites. Tremors and Maximum Overdrive is a favorite of mine. Stephen King's Graveyard Shift is a favorite of mine. Films like The Relic and Deep Rising, and I have quite a few favorites. I really enjoy The Blair Witch Project. Really enjoy Alien. The more action films, Aliens and Predator 2 are more like action films. Love Jaws. A lot of films. But if I would usually when people ask me a favorite horror film, the one I picked is John Carpenter's The Thing. Number 3, favorite subgenre of horror, it would probably be the monster creature feature, because a lot of the ones I've named kind of fall in that category. John Carpenter's The Thing, I mean, it's an alien movie, but it's monsters, creature features, great effects. Same with Leviathan, same with, in a way, Alien and Aliens, and Predator 2. They're aliens, but they're monsters, they're creatures. Deep Rising, The Relic, Tremors, The Blob from 1988, it's a monster movie, some type of creature. So yeah, a lot of Stephen King's Graveyard Shift. I mean, most of the ones I named were monster creature features when it's done well. But nowadays, they just want to go the cheap route and go with CGI, and I do think that's the cheap route because I don't think it looks as good. I mean, once in a while, I can handle it and be fine with it. Deep Rising, for example. I have fun with that movie. But for the most part, there are a lot of creatures which they don't need CGI, but they do it anyway. And then there's the flip side. Just because there's a good creature doesn't mean it's a good movie. There have been films that have a pretty decent creature in it, but the movie's not that good. And there's some that pop in my head. I can't remember the names of it though. One where it was a pretty decent looking creature, but it was in this warehouse, and I think it took place in London or something. I know the lead was black, and it was not. Everyone didn't die at the end, but then you find out that a bunch of things were landing on the Earth, and they were going to be maybe not landing on Earth, or it was a pan and city was being destroyed. I can't remember. It was like a harbor, a warehouse, or seven. I can't remember. I for some reason I think there's a number in it. I can't remember the name of it though. This shows how much I cared for the movie. But I remember the monster being pretty decent. But a good creature feature monster movie is something I really like. So that would be my favorite subgenre of horror. The last horror films that scared you. Horror films don't really scare me. It's not me being, oh, I'm tough. It just, like, I was watching a lot of these movies when I was 6, 7, 8 years old, so maybe that's why I'm watching, like, oh, dude. Yeah, I was watching Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4 when I was a kid. And I don't know, I just sort of knew that they were fake. So, I mean, the only few I can think of is maybe the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But I was more like creeped out than scared. I was more creeped out. Same with watching like the Friday the 13th films. I forget what age it was, but sort of being a little bit creeped out because I was live on a farm in the middle of nowhere, and I don't know, the image of a guy in a hockey mask. Okay, but I don't remember ever being scared like, you know, I never had nightmares or anything of that nature. I just never remember having that fear of being scared. Uh, the closest I can get to being is the Blair Witch Project. That's only because, again, I lived in a farm in the middle of nowhere, saw it on VHS tape, and I had never seen a film like that before. There had been films made before, but I didn't know them. And it was a different kind of movie to me, and I felt like I was the fourth person in this group, and so I was able to sort of get put into the world of the Blair Witch Project as if I was living it. I remember when it got to the ending, my heart was beating. So, and that was when the film came out on VHS, so that was back in 1999. So that's the last time I can remember, that kind of feeling was back in 1999. I mean, and I was 83, 93, just 16 years old. But yeah, I'd never seen a film like that before. I went, whoa, shit. It was one of those films I thought did a good job sucking me into its world, especially for a film I'd never seen before that was like that. But films nowadays, they don't really scare me at all. I mean, they get me pissed, or they get me angry, or they get me bored, but once in a while you get a film that's entertaining because, oh, I like the characters, or I had fun, or just entertaining. But that's about it. Let's see. Favorite Scream Queen, past and present? Honestly, in this current day, I can't think of any. Back in the day, I would put Amy Steele. Love Amy Steele, Friday the 13th Part 2, the original April Fool's Day. Amy Steele, I have to put as #1. Also really enjoyed Lisa Wilcox, who played Alice in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4 and 5. But I really enjoy Lisa Wilcox. Gotta put Heather Langenkamp in there. She did a great job in the first movie. And she did okay in the third. She was really good in Wes Craven's New Nightmare. So Heather Langenkamp, I gotta put up there. Of course, Jamie Lee Curtis. Really enjoyed Terror Train, Halloween 1 and 2. I liked H2O. So definitely gotta put Jamie Lee Curtis in there. I'm trying to think, and I'm sure there are others, but I know I'm missing some. Oh, why can't I not remember her name? God, I can't remember her name. I gotta remember her name, though. I gotta look it up. Because I know her first name, but I know I'm going to get mixed up with another person. Caroline Williams. Stretch from Chainsaw Master 2. I like Caroline Williams. And usually, other than Chainsaw Master 2, she wasn't really the lead in many films. Maybe she's in there for a big part and dies, like Hatchet 3 or fucking one of those Leprechaun sequels. And I think she was in a Wishmaster sequel as well. I could be wrong on that. But I like Caroline Williams, Stretch. I was going to get mixed up with Caroline Munro, but Caroline Williams. So those are a couple that I would pick. New concept in horror? That's an interesting question. Couldn't there be a new concept in horror? I think there could be new ways of doing stuff. I mean, for example, I would like to see a slasher movie that is mixed up with a action revenge movie, where you have your typical characters that you think are going to die, like the black guy. And I know people mention, why do you always mention that? Because I can name 50 movies where the black guy is just the token guy who dies. Even films I love, the black guy dies, like Leviathan. Not many times that they become the main hero, unless it's something like Blade or Dawn of the Dead. I mean, even the Dawn of the Dead remake, it was more a collection of people, but him start off as you think is a typical guy, and then that's kind of one of the things I thought was decent with Wrong Turn 2. You thought this guy was just an asshole jock, but he really wasn't, but even then, he could have done more in the third act. He doesn't die, but he could have done more. But I would like to bring him up. You think this is a important character, and then becomes the main hero. And you'd have a nerdy guy, too. Like a nerdy movie fan guy or something. Kind of like the Jamie Kennedy character in Stream. Like, that would have been interesting if he became the lead character or was the hero or something. But instead, they killed him off in Stream 2. I mean, I think that would have been a better version of Cabin in the Woods. And not have the shitty ending and such, and the crappy CG. Among other stuff. But either have it be a slasher film or have it be a monster movie like Cabin in the Woods, but in my opinion, better. Like if Cabin in the Woods were different kinds of monsters, not just redneck zombies for the majority of the fucking screen time. Have an Assault on Precinct 13, but a monster version. That would be my new concept. Assault on Precinct 13, the monster movie horror version. You have a bunch of characters, and I say a bunch because you need some people to die in gory ways, and have like Assault on Precinct 13, the original, the black guy be the lead and the hero. You don't expect it at first, but he's saving this guy, have him use a chainsaw. When was the last time you saw a black guy use a chainsaw? Especially as the hero. I can't remember. That's something I want to see. Because it's different. It's against the grain. It's against the cliches. But yet in an entertaining way. And you have different monsters. You have vampires at night. You have zombies during the day. You have other creatures. And maybe something is just throwing creature after creature after creature as them trying to survive the night. Kind of like a big budget version of Feast with a lot more different creatures. I mean, I think that would have been really cool. Put a budget behind it. Put a good special effects team behind it. And who the cast? I don't know. I don't know. That's what casting calls are for. And even Spit got so excited. So that kind of thing. Or a film where you have an alien or a monster, but who thinks like a serial killer. Kind of like you saw a little bit in Split Second, but it's actually a creature that doesn't just lumber and claw, but is actually thinking. Will actually use a gun. Will actually, plan. Will actually torture, or will actually fuck with the hero, or fuck with the survivor, fuck with the. You think it's gonna be the lone girl like normal, but it's a lone guy. Like to see more male heroes in horror films, because usually it's just the woman. I like to see more male heroes. I mean, one of the only ones you could think of is Ash from Evil Dead. If you keep going, maybe Ken Foray and Dawn of the Dead, or like Kurt Russell in The Thing, and so on. He's got Peter Weller in Leviathan. But I mean, especially in slasher films, it's usually a female. Even in horror films nowadays, it's a lot of. One of the few was Deliver Us from Evil, which I liked, and I'm one of the only few. But I mean, I'm just spitballing here. There's a couple stuff, but less found footage, less remakes, reboots, and less possession, exorcism, ghost movies. I want to see more monster movies. I want to see more creature features. Not a fucking another remake of the fucking Blob. Not a fucking remake of Big Trouble in China, which isn't a horror film, but you don't probably have some monsters in there. Let's have some more bigger budget creature features with practical effects. At least some. Not bullshit like the Thing prequel, pre-cum in your mouth. But anyway, that's just a few I throw out there. Favorite on-screen kill. Again, this is a tough one. On-screen kills. Because there's been a lot of kills in movies. It's hard to pick one favorite, so I have to just pick a couple. The Blob from 1988, not the poster, but the VHS cover, where the guy is being pulled out and you see him stretch, and also the other guy that gets. The Blob 1988 has some really great kills, because you have the one that's on the VHS cover, you have the one where the guy gets pulled down the damn sink, you have the one where waitress and the phone booth, and she just gets literally obliterated. Guy gets his guy from he was a Paul McCrane, I think, in RoboCop. That was the actor's name. Gets broken in half. There's a lot of great deaths in the Blob 1988. And Jar Jar was the thing. Technically, it's not really a death. The guy was dead already, but I have to think about the defibrillator scene. I mean, technically, that's probably not a death, but it's when you realize that the guy was dead. Like Friday the 13th, that series, the one that always makes me think is the guy walked on his hands, and Jason says, "Fuck you, you ain't having kids," and just cuts his nuts in half, pretty much. With a machete right down on your dick, like this. Yeah, that's a death worth noting. I always remember the one in Dead Alive, where the baby zombie went through the woman's head and then did this, so that the head went like this. If you've never seen Dead Alive, the unrated version that Peter Jackson made, when Peter Jackson was worth his shit, was making movies like these. Again, a zombie baby punches through this woman's head and then does this. And the head goes like this. So that's one of the ones I went, literally like, when I first saw it, I went, so those are a couple that pops in my head. I'm sure there's dozens and dozens more, but those are a few that pops up in my head. I'm trying to think. Okay, favorite horror movie franchise? That's another tough one. There's a lot of horror franchises. I guess I would put Friday the 13th because, to be honest, I couldn't watch any of the Friday the 13th films. My least favorite is Part 8 because it has a shitload of problems and it is a bad movie. It is. Stupid toxic waste that somehow flows through the fucking sewers in New York every midnight, which I don't think that would work because I think someone would have a problem with toxic waste flowing through the sewers like a fucking river. Jason, yeah, Jason usually teleports, but he literally does teleport. At least you can throw bullshit logic here. There's no logic. It's just bullshit. The acting's not that great. It lies to the audience. Jason doesn't take Manhattan. He takes a fucking snooze nap on a fucking boat. Stupid Nightmare on Elm Street bullshit, dream scenes, or whatever the fuck he was trying to do. Visions. It's like trying to wait, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4 made how much money? Okay, next year, put some of that in Part 8, Friday the 13th Part 8. Because it made more money than Friday the 13th Part 7. But it is a bad movie, but for some reason I can watch it because it just didn't piss me off. I think because I knew going in what it was. So for years I knew what it was. And because I had seen a lot of the other ones before it, so it was one of the later ones, I didn't have that expectation. And it's a bad movie, but I could watch it as a time waster. Like, I put it on my TV and I'm doing something like, oh, okay, there's Tina Hodder. Okay, he knocked someone's head off. Okay, cool. And, oh, cool, is Jason at least on a boat and on the streets, pretty much Vancouver, but it's not in the woods again. And I don't mind the song, The Darkest Side of the Night. The darkest side. I actually like the song. So, I mean, that's what I mean. I can watch it as a time waster. So, but if someone said that's a bad movie, I would not disagree with them. I'm like, you're not getting an argument out of me. I could defend Part 7, The New Blood, even though it has no gore, because MPA are dickheads. But I'll defend Jason Goes to Hell because I love the film. That's my favorite because that was the first one I saw. But that's not the only reason why I like it. I also like the lead guy, John D. LeMay. I think it's actually pretty creative. It's the goriest Friday the 13th film. It was entertaining. Some fun stuff like the police station sequences or when hell breaks loose. Great work by KMB. I really do enjoy the film, Jason Goes to Hell. And I'll stand by it. But Part 8, no. But Friday the 13th films, I can watch any of them. By Halloween, I hate 5. I hate 6. I hate... the remakes suck ass. The Rob Zombies. I mean, I reviewed and ranted on that stuff anyway. I reviewed all the Halloween films. Leprechaun, every single one of them sucks ass. Nightmare on Elm Street, I reviewed all the Nightmare on Elm Street films. Did not like Part 5. I don't like the remake. Friday the 13th, I liked the reboot even. I saw the reboot in theaters and I liked it. I still like it. I have fun with it. I'm entertained by it. I don't think it was that bad. I thought, okay, if more of the reboots, remakes were like this film, yeah, I could see improvement. That's why you should do a sequel, not another fucking reboot, which they're going to do. But, oh well. Friday the 13th would be the one I pick because it's just, I think it has more good movies just by number alone. Second favorite would probably be Nightmare on Elm Street because I just love Robert Englund's Freddy Krueger that much. He just does a great job. And then number 9, favorite horror directors. At least I thought it was 9 questions. That's all I could find. Favorite horror directors. I'll add a 10th one. You know what? This, again, I like doing stuff different. I'll add a 10th question. And that way, also, I know that someone actually watched this whole video if they get to the 10th question. Because once again, number 1 was first horror film you ever saw. 2, favorite horror film. 3, favorite subgenre of horror. 4, last horror films that scared you. 5, favorite Scream Queen, past and present. 6, new concept in horror. 7, favorite on-screen kill. 8, favorite horror movie franchise. 9, favorite horror directors, which I'll answer. And 10, which I'll get to. What do you want to see in the horror genre? What do you think should happen so that it gets out of the shit that it's in today? I think it's in the shitter. What do you think should change in the horror genre so it gets out of the shitter? But number 9 favorite horror directors, I gotta go with John Carpenter, without a doubt. I could name on one hand the amount of movies I've seen of his that I did not like. Still, I haven't seen Elvis the movie. I would like to one day. I did not like Dark Star, but that was a student film, and then they tried to make it to a theatrical film. His Masters of Horror, I did not really care for, but that's not really movies, so I'm not going to count them. He made 2 of them. I didn't really care for either one. Well, I didn't see the other one. I saw Cigarette Burns, and I didn't care for Cigarette Burns. But Dark Star, I did not like The Ward. To me, it didn't even seem like John Carpenter directed it. I mean, he didn't do the music for it. The story, I don't know, everything about it, I'm like, this is a John Carpenter movie? I mean, if you told me that fucking some other director, I mean, pick a director, I'm like, oh, okay, he directed it. Some guy I've never heard of, okay. Just look like this is John Carpenter? Memoirs of Invisible Man, I remember not liking, but I wanted to give the film another shot. But it's not on DVD. It's on a stupid Warner Archive bullshit. I'm not buying a DVD-R Warner Archive and MGM Limited Edition. Same with the 1990 movie The Ambulance. I'm not buying those fucking movies because they're fucking DVD-Rs. I just go, well, I have to buy some. I'll go buy some DVD-Rs one day, and I'll make my own goddamn DVD-Rs of those films. It's the same fucking thing. DVD-Rs. That's fucking... You don't pay $20 for a DVD-R when you can put that and save up to buy 50 DVD-Rs and have the same fucking thing. Anyway, Memoirs of Invisible Man actually would like to give another shot to. But John Carpenter, I mean, The Thing, I love Halloween, Friday, I was going to say Friday the 13th. The Fog, I love The Fog. Even the stuff he did that wasn't horror, Assault on Precinct 13, Escape from New York. I love Prince of Darkness. Love In the Mouth of Madness. I enjoy vampires. I do like Ghosts of Mars. I do. I found it entertaining. I still do. So, a lot of John Carpenter films I love. So John Carpenter would definitely be number 1. As for other horror directors, I mean... I would put Wes Craven in there. Even though I don't think he's as consistent as John Carpenter, but I would put Wes Craven. I know there's one guy on Facebook who really hates Wes Craven. I disagree. I love Shocker. I look forward to the collector's edition coming out. I love The Serpent and the Rainbow. I love The People Under the Stairs. The First Nightmare on Elm Street. Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I like Scream. I don't even mind Scream 3. Scream 2 I have problems, but I can watch Scream 3. I mean, Deadly Friend I watch again. It's not as bad as I remember it. Deadly Blessing I didn't care for. Swamp Thing I thought sucked. It's not a horror film. I was never a bit Hills of Eyes and Last House on the Left fan that he did. I mean, I bitch a lot about remakes, but I'll say this. I enjoy the Hills of Eyes remake more. But again, that's a small percentage of remakes in the past 10 goddamn years. If that was the norm, I wouldn't bitch much. But I like the remake more than Wes Craven's film. Because I star in it. As some of my friends say, the guy in Hills of Eyes remake looks like me before I shave my hair. Shave my head, I should say. But well, I mean, shave most of it. Going back. because the summer gets hot. Fuck the hair. Oh, speaking of hair, there you go. John Carpenter's Body Bags had that episode of hair in it. That was a decent one. Body Bags. That was a decent sort of anthology that might have been a TV show, but then didn't work out, so it just became that. I think for Showtime. Could be wrong. Might have been HBO, but for some reason I want to say Showtime, but yeah, I could be wrong. But anyway, other horror directors, I mean, it's hard to pick because a lot of directors I think of, like Peter Hyams is not really a horror director, but he's done a couple. Like I enjoy The Relic. Chuck Russell, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, The Blob, 1988. George Cosmatos, just at least for of unknown origin, Leviathan. Of course, then action films they've done, like Chuck Russell did Eraser, which I love. George Cosmatos might have done Cobra, Rambo 2, or Stallone did it, whichever one. But I thought the guy did a great job of unknown origin, Leviathan. I know Stallone didn't ghost direct them, unless there's something I'm missing. But I mean, yeah, there's... Nowadays, I can't think of a horror director nowadays. I mean, James Wan. But to be honest, I liked The Conjuring. I liked the first Saw film. I wouldn't say they're my favorite movies, though, so I wouldn't even... James Wan, I think, is talented, but not much with Furious 7. Well, I thought the movie was okay, but just okay. But I wouldn't put him in the lead of John Carpenter or Chuck Russell or... Hey, you could put Fred Decker on there, the Monster Squad, and... Why the fuck can I not remember that? Night of the Creeps? Now, that's a few there that I can think of. I mean, Tobe Hooper, he's made a couple I enjoy. I do like The Mangler, I will admit. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1 and 2 I enjoy. I liked Life Force. But definitely John Carpenter. John Carpenter would be up there. I would still put Wes Craven because he's made quite a few films that I enjoy. Like Shocker, People on the Stairs, Serpent the Rainbow, Chuck Russell. I would put George P. Cosmatos, at least for Of Unknown Origin and Leviathan. And also, number 10 that made up. What horror genre do you think should change? Less remakes, less pandering to the audience, less found footage, less possession, exorcism, or haunted ghost movies. Haunted/ghost movies. At least the ones that are filled with fucking bullshit. I mean... I like to see more monster movies that are done practically. I like to see more horror movies with older people in it. People who are just there for actors and are not young, fresh-faced folks. That's why I like Delirious from Evil, because he has... Everybody isn't old, but he's older than some other people. A lot of horror films like Tremors and Leviathan and The Thing, and these were actors. Not just people that look good on a fucking magazine cover or when you take a picture and put on your blog on the internet. And put a little bit more budget into it if that's what it takes. So it looks good, not cheap. Especially when you have all these fucking movies going straight to video, straight to DVD, straight to VOD. It was cheaper than shit. But you know what? That's all I'm going to say, because I want to leave that up to you. What's your answer to that question? What should be done to horror genre to change? But anyway, yeah, this video was longer than I thought it would be. So I don't know when they'll post this. I'll probably post this after I finish my Van Damme stuff. And then after this, I'll get to First Power 100 and Corey and all the stuff they sent. But so I'll do it that way. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.